Power-tripping receptionist gets no candy. Our office receptionist Karen thought she ran the entire company just because she'd been there since day one. And by run the company, I mean she acted like everyone's boss, when really she just answered phones and scheduled appointments. If you walked in 2 minutes late, she'd literally tap her watch and give you this look like you just murdered someone. She'd smirk when the owner asked her to tell me to do something, like she was the one giving orders. And if you weren't on her good list, anything you needed done would take forever. Packages that should go out same day would sit on her desk for a week. Office supplies you ordered would mysteriously never show up. Most of us just stopped asking her to do stuff and did it ourselves. It was easier than dealing with her attitude. Our owner loved going to Costco and buying these big boxes of candy bars for the office, like 30 Snickers or granola bars at a time. He'd put them in the kitchen and tell everyone to grab one as a treat. One day he brought in a fresh box of Snickers. I was working in my office when Karen practically sprinted past my door toward the kitchen. She was trying to be sneaky, but I saw her arms were full of candy bars. She was speed walking back to her desk like she'd just robbed a bank. Later that afternoon, Kevin from the shop came in to grab some paperwork. I told him to help himself to a Snickers on his way out. He laughed and goes, "Does Karen know about them? Because if she does, there won't be any left." Apparently this was her thing. Every time the owner brought treats, she'd grab a huge pile and hide them in her desk. I went to check the kitchen. Out of a box of 30 candy bars, there was one left. I just rolled my eyes and went back to work. Honestly, who cares that much about candy bars? She wants to be greedy, whatever, that's her problem. Until 2 months later when everything changed. The owner called me into his office looking stressed. He had this official looking letter about a huge tax penalty. Apparently we owed thousands of dollars to the state. My heart dropped into my stomach. I handle all the accounting and payroll. This was my responsibility. But I knew we'd filed everything on time. I knew we'd paid everything we owed. That's when he told me Karen had opened the mail on my desk, saw this letter, and ran straight to him with it instead of giving it to me. She was literally trying to get me fired. She wanted him to think I'd screwed up and cost the company money. I grabbed our files and called the state assessor's office. Turns out they'd switched to a new computer system and it sent these penalty letters to every single business in the county by mistake. We weren't behind on anything. It was their error. But for 15 minutes, I was in full panic mode, thinking I was about to lose my job. And Karen knew exactly what she was doing when she took that letter to the owner instead of me. Oh, now I was mad. A few weeks later, Karen left the office to run some errands for the owner. He came out to her desk looking for paper clips. I saw my chance. I walked over all helpful and started looking with him. We opened a few drawers until we got to the bottom one. When we pulled it open, my jaw hit the floor. It was packed completely full of candy bars. Snickers, Milky Ways, Twix, Reese's. I counted later and there were about 40 candy bars in there. 40 candy bars that were supposed to be for everyone in the office. The owner went silent. He just stared at that drawer for a solid 10 seconds. Then he grabbed every single candy bar and walked them to his office. He laid them all out on his desk in neat rows. I could see him doing the math in his head. He buys boxes of 30 candy bars for 10 people and they're gone in an hour because Karen takes half of them. Karen came back about 30 minutes later. She set her purse down and reached for her candy drawer. I watched her face from across the office. First confusion, then shock, then pure panic. That's when the owner walked out of his office. "Karen, can you come in here for a minute?" She looked like she was about to throw up. She followed him in and closed the door. I couldn't hear everything, but I heard her voice getting defensive. When she came out 10 minutes later, her face was bright red and she wouldn't look at anyone. According to the owner, she tried to justify it by saying she deserved a fair share of the candy because she worked harder than everyone else. So whenever he brought in a new box, she'd just take her share up front. Her share had apparently grown to as many as she could carry without looking ridiculous. The owner gave her a formal written reprimand. From that day on, if he brought in candy, she had to wait a full 24 hours before taking one. Everyone else got first pick. She went from queen bee to last in line. But here's the best part. The owner walked all 40 of those candy bars out to the shop and gave them to the guys who work out back. The guys Karen always treated like they were beneath her. Kevin came in the next morning with the biggest smile on his face. He walked right past Karen's desk, made eye contact with her, and said loud enough for everyone to hear that Snickers from your desk was the best candy bar I've ever had in my entire life. Karen didn't say a word. She just stared at her computer screen. For the next 2 years until I left that job, every time the owner brought in treats, Karen would sit at her desk with a sad puppy dog look on her face while everyone else went to grab theirs. Watching her wait 24 hours while everyone else enjoyed candy she used to hoard was absolutely perfect.